Hey friends, I'm Parrihoff, and welcome to the Parrihoff Collective, where therapy, wellness, and creativity come together to help you write your own story. Hey friends, and welcome back to Therapy Thursday with the Parrihoff Project, helping you write your own story. So today we're talking about something that affects a lot of people, especially caregivers, helpers, parents, ministry leaders, healthcare workers, counselors, and honestly, anyone who has ever felt responsible for everyone else's well-being. Today's topic is the cost of being everything to everybody. Why boundaries aren't rejection. Because somewhere along the way, many of us learned that being a good person meant always saying yes, always showing up, always helping, always fixing, always carrying. And while those things may come from a good place, there's a cost. The person everyone calls. You know who I'm talking about. The person everyone calls when they need something. The person everyone leans on. The person who is always available. The problem is, sometimes that person is exhausted. Sometimes that person is struggling. Sometimes that person needs support too. But because everyone sees them as strong, nobody thinks to ask. And eventually, that strong person starts carrying more than they were ever meant to carry. So, how do you know if you're trying to be everything to everybody? Here are a few signs. Number one, you feel guilty saying no, even when you're tired, even when you're overwhelmed, even when you don't have the capacity. You say yes because you don't want to disappoint anyone. Number two, everyone comes to you, but you rarely ask for help. You're the listener, the fixer, the helper, the dependable one. But when you're struggling, you tell yourself, I'll figure it out. Number three, you're exhausted but keep showing up anyway. Now don't get me wrong, showing up matters, but some people are running on fumes. They are emotionally depleted and physically exhausted, yet they keep pushing because they've convinced themselves that stopping would make them selfish. Number four, you feel responsible for other people's emotions. This is a huge one. If someone is upset, you feel responsible. If someone is disappointed, you feel responsible. If someone is unhappy, you feel responsible. But here's the truth. You can care about people without carrying people. Number five, your needs always come last. Everyone else's problems become emergencies. Everybody else's needs get attention. Everybody else's priorities get accommodated. And somewhere in the process, you disappear. What does that cost? Let's talk about it. Because there is always a cost. Being everything to everybody often leads to burnout. You are constantly pouring out with nothing replenishing you. Resentment. You start to feel frustrated with the very people you're helping, not because they're bad people, but because you're giving more than you can sustain. Anxiety. You're constantly worried about keeping everyone happy. Emotional exhaustion. You aren't physically tired, you're soul tired. Poor boundaries. You don't know where your responsibilities end and someone else's begin. Loss of identity. And this one is huge. When your value becomes tied to being needed, you stop knowing who you are when nobody needs anything. So I just want to pose some questions for reflection. I want you to sit with these questions. Who am I when I'm not helping anyone? Why do I feel guilty resting? Do I only feel valuable when I'm needed? Am I helping from compassion or obligation? What would happen if I said no? Sometimes our answers reveal more than we realize. Now let's talk about boundaries, because boundaries are not rejection. When people hear the word boundary, they immediately think you're pushing people away. You're being selfish. You've changed. Healthy boundaries are not rejection. Healthy boundaries are honesty. A boundary says, I care about you enough to be honest about what I can and cannot give. That's not rejection, that's maturity. That's self-awareness, that's sustainability. Some people will not like your boundaries. And let's be honest, not everyone is going to celebrate your newfound boundaries, especially people who have benefited from your lack of them. Sometimes the people who call you selfish are the same people who are comfortable with your exhaustion. But healing requires us to stop measuring our worth by how available we are. You are not responsible for everybody. And this may be the hardest part of the conversation. You are not responsible for saving everyone, fixing everyone, carrying everyone, rescuing everyone. You can love people. You can support people. You can pray for people. You can encourage people. But you cannot become responsible for their entire life. That burden was never yours to carry. So, what does healthy look like? Healthy looks like asking for help when you need it, resting without guilt, saying no when necessary, allowing others to solve their own problems, protecting your mental and emotional health, understanding that your worth is not tied to your usefulness, because your value comes from who you are, not how much you do. Final thought. If you've been trying to be everything to everybody, I want to remind you of something. You do not have to carry everyone to prove your worth. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to have boundaries. You're allowed to protect your peace, and you're allowed to prioritize your own healing. Because boundaries aren't rejection. They're one of the healthiest forms of self-respect. This has been Parrihoff with the Parrihoff Project, reminding you that you always have the power to write your own story. Ta for now.